They took your name, your land, your language, but not your legacy. Reclaim it at AfricanAncestry.com.
We are seeing renewed calls for unity across the continent. What is fueling this resurgence of Pan-African consciousness, and how is it different from past movements?
I think we are in the information age. That is first and foremost. When you control the minds of the people, it's much easier to implement neocolonialism. The power has always been with the people. What's different is that it's harder to sell a narrative. It's harder to make the people feel deficient on who they are, when they know the facts. You can paint one side against the other side, divide and rule. That was their only plan. But in this time, you can't do that because WhatsApp, people seeing the videos coming through, the WhatsApp, they're watching, people are sharing the information. YouTube has been a great liberation resource. It's a propaganda tool, but it's also a liberation resource because there's so many content creators that are cultivating their own audience, that are developing their own narratives. So this revolution, and then the finance behind the revolution, is also instrumental. Usually, as I said, we used to have to, we win the power, and then we find out as the revolutionaries, there's no money to build anything. Now you have a choice, you have an alternative. You can play one against the other. And I want to make clear that we stand as non-aligned. Neither G7 nor BRICS. As Rastafari, we stand non-aligned. We are for the development and the peace on earth, and whoever is willing to accomplish that, we are willing to work with them. You know what I mean? So this is how we look at the world. But this is different again because with this golden age, and I'm talking literal gold, and we could add chocolate to that. We could add uranium to that. When we control our resources, the resources that are being used to develop this modern era, we can add coltan, copper, silver, you name it, we have it. So when we reclaim, and that's the trend.
And fire, don't forget to add the intellectual fire.
Yes, rightly so.
because the brain drain still exists, but I'm noticing it's reducing, and you have a lot of Africans in different areas working together. You have the African working with the person in the Caribbean. You have the Caribbean person, regardless of the crap online. I'm talking about in real life fire.
Yes, sir.
So that brain drain is not as powerful as it was, and I think it will be decreasing moving forward. And countries will benefit from the brilliance of their people more than they have in the past.
Let's look at a recent report by a world-famous content creator, the great Wodamaya, going to Burkina Faso, visiting an electric car company in Burkina Faso from a Burkina Bay citizen that was living abroad. Obviously did very well economically. He returned and that's happening all over the continent. A lot of the people, the migrants that went to look for work in Europe, are slowly looking for ways to come home because of what's happening in the Sahel and what they're seeing on the social media, that there's some hope for them. The brethren also is, with the focus on agriculture, is driving a lot of people to go forward to the land as well. Whereas, one of the criticisms against His Imperial Majesty was the high unemployment late in the early 70s. He became a victim of his own success. When you build up, all of the people from the rural areas come to the cities looking for work. There's not enough work. You're trying to bring in industry, you're trying to court, but then you also have an international embargo that's trying to destroy you because he withdrew his support from Israel in 1973 after the Yom Kippur War. So he became an enemy of the West. So the investment is not coming in, and you have all of these people. So this is how they use the propaganda to, paint you as ineffective, ignoring all of the development that you've done, the thousands of schools that you built, the institutions that up to today keep Ethiopia united in the face of a constitution that seeks to tear it apart. All of that has been tied together by His Majesty. But what we see is that that lack of employment is one of the big things that they use to tear down governments. You know what I mean? So the fact that Ibrahim Traore, the fact that the Sahel countries are making it attractive for foreign investment from it, their own citizens that have left and done extremely well in the diaspora, this is going to accelerate. The same thing is happening in Ghana. A lot of the businesses in Ghana, as you know, the eye has been there. And I told the brethren before he went what was going to happen to him. And it happened because when you go there, you feel that energy of renewal, of something bubbling that you don't feel so much again in the West, you know. So you're going to see and this is part of the prophecy, you know, in Rastafari. Again, I keep coming forward to my elders. When I came in the movement as a young university student, they pointed me to Isaiah 43. And enough people, it's become cool to burn out the Bible, but enough of the thing them come true. Me see it. I shall say to the north, give up, to the south, keep not back. You know, call my daughters from the ends of the earth, my sons and my daughters, even everybody that is called by my name. We see that that brain drain was for a time. People went to the West to do what? Become educated. Now that Africa is entering a golden age and Europe is declining, it's getting harder in Europe, prices rising, plus you're dealing with coal, what do you think is going to happen naturally? Millions are going to return to create this new Africa, that whole process. So we have to look at things at the macro level. And this is why I don't fight no one who don't want to go forward to Africa. You want to be from an area. I love the eye for that. The ones who are being called, and they are answering the call more and more. It's not Rastafari leading this charge anymore. We remember the lonely days our elders told us it wasn't cool to say repatriation, return to Africa. Right now, what's happening? Ordinary Black Americans, Caribbean people, UK, you name it, are leading the charge to return to mama and to invest. So this is different than what we've seen before. We've never seen it like this. If we look at the 60s, was there this mass rush to return to Africa? I don't think so. Maybe in rhetoric, but in terms of dollars, people building businesses and that free flow. The 70s, I don't see it. The 80s, of course, we don't see it. So what we're seeing, I think we can safely say, is unique. Now, yes, there were people going back and forth, you know, Miriam Makeba time, and you had Kwame Ture, you had, you know, even Martin Luther King went to Ghana. So you definitely, Maya Angelou had that intersplicing, Malcolm X, but in terms of investment, going to live, that being part of popular culture, we have not seen that according to my study of the history. So I think that this time is different. The information is there. I can follow content creators like Awoda Maya, like others who are there. So you can't tell me that Africa is just all bellies when I see the infinity pool. You know what I mean? And the landscape, and I see the nightlife, and I see all the things that I see here in the West are there. So now you can't scare me with emaciated children, you know, with flies running around their mouth and the images that we got in the 80s, you know? That doesn't work anymore. So that is why it's different, my brother.